Welcome in, everyone. It's Betting Weekly Live. You with Steve Wyss, Nigel Seeley and Daniele Fisichella for today's edition. Hope you're doing really well out there. Nigel, how was your betting weekend?
It was all right, Steve. Mixed. Had a decent bet on Crystal Palace. Fulham to win their match. Decent bet on that. I bet Salah to score the first goal, scored the second goal. But my main bet was Fulham to beat Leicester 1-2-1. A couple of things in the Football League, up and down. Small heads in front, just a little bit of heads. And that's all that matters. Just a little small heads in front each week. That's all you need.
Very good, very good. And Daniele, how you doing? Are you still over there on Sicily?
Still in Sicily, still in Italy until the last day, until I can. So yeah, good week overall. By the way, Serie match day hasn't finished yet. To get match days, of course, we're going to talk about this a little bit later. And a few surprises in Italy, a few teams losing at home, like Roma, which unfortunately lost me the bet. Well, was one of my strongest pick. But yeah, hopefully we'll make some money. We'll give some good tips tonight.
Yeah, coming up on the show today, we're going to be starting with US Open tennis. The final Grand Slam of the year has just started at Flushing Meadows today. And then we're going to be discussing the two Serie matches along with the LaLiga game later, along with some big bets and market moves later at the foot of the show. So US Open tennis then. Final Grand Slam of the year, Nigel. This is one that you get really excited about. You're out there at the weekend in America. Outright market. Let's just go into the winners market here for the men. Carlos Alcaraz is the favourite at plus 220. Novak Djokovic at plus 240. There's plenty of shows out on the YouTube channel here that you can get stuck into with yourself, Rory Rajawani and Sean Calvert. But in this looks a wide open market looking at the betting.
Well, it's dominated by the top three, as you would expect, Alcaraz, Djokovic and Sinner. In majors before, like all majors before, the big favourites usually dominate the US Open. But in the matches, you do get a lot of shock wins because players come into it after a very long physical season, a lot of tennis, got a lot of ties. You do get some favourites getting turned over. You will get some shocks today. There's no doubt about it. It's just finding where the shocks are going to come from. We're looking at the outright market here, and I think there's question marks about all of the big three. And the reason why I think it's a good time to be a bookmaker, I think I'd be very, very happy to take money on the top three in this market for various reasons. Now, Carlos Alcaraz is the favourite at plus 220. Now, he's in the top half of the draw, and the top half of the draw is very loaded. The bracket in the top half is so much more difficult than the bottom half. I think if you're looking for a bet in this tournament, you have to be in the bottom half of the draw. I think the top half is very difficult. So you have Carlos Alcaraz in there. He will play Sinner if they both get through to the semi-finals. But Alcaraz is coming here on the worst run. Well, he's played by his own standards. He said it was the worst performance he's ever played in Cincinnati, where he got beat by Gael Monfils. Now, Gael Monfils isn't really, he's not at the top of his game. He's coming towards the end of his career, and we saw a different Alcaraz. He smashed his rackets up. He was completely frustrated with his performance. And Alcaraz has already won two majors this year. His goal at the start of the year was to win the French Open, which he did. He backed that up by winning Wimbledon. Then he played in the final. He was beaten by Novak Djokovic in the Olympics. And then in Cincinnati, his levels have definitely dropped. So would this be on the top of his priority this year? I'm not quite sure if it would. So I think, he's not playing well. He's got to play a lot better. Next up is Sinner. Obviously, we've got, third favourite, Sinner. He's in the top half of the job. We've got Daniele, obviously, the Italian. And Sinner's has had an incredible year. And I've been very fortunate to be a lot of Sinner matches. I was at Monte Carlo where Sinner played, where it was like being at the San Siro. The crowd was crazy. I mean, they were cheering for him. It was like being a football match, the way that these supporters love him. But obviously, he's coming in here with a bit of a cloud on the back of this drug test, which is a bit of a problem. I mean, depending on how you sit on the fence, a lot of people aren't happy that he's got, in their inverted commas, he's got away from it. I personally think his reasoning stacks up. There's a billionth of the substance in him, which I just think is very unfortunate. But he's been allowed to get away with things that other players who aren't number one in the world wouldn't have got away with. The other thing here is he's going to New York. Now, New York is a hostile crowd, especially night match on Ash. And he's going to run into a lot of American players. He'll play Alex Mickelson, a young 19-year-old American, 20 this week, American in round 2. That's not going to be tough. And I think the Americans will make it very difficult for Sinner. Then he could run into Tommy Paul. And also I think the most important thing for Sinner is he's not fit. He's got a hip problem. We always know about him. It's great for him what he's done in best of 3 matches, but in best of 5 matches in a very, very hot and humid New York, his body breaks down, Yannick Sinner. He's an unbelievable talent. I saw him play probably the best performance I've ever seen live from any tennis player against Andrei Rublev in Miami a couple of years ago. Unbelievable talent. But in 5 setters in the heat, Sinner breaks down. And I wouldn't bet him. And finally, you got Djokovic. Djokovic in the much easier bottom half of the draw, away from Sinner and Alcaraz. But at the start of the year, Djokovic had 1 goal and 1 goal only. And that was to become the Olympic champion and do what Rafael Nadal had done and won all the majors in the Olympics. He's done that. And he's done that sensationally. You've got to remember as well, he had an injury as well. Surgery before the Olympics, which he won. Now coming here at, what is he, 30, 36? I think 36. I think I'm not, maybe not right about his age there, but has he got it in him? If anyone's got the hunger and desire, he is the man. But at plus $2 after what he's got. So I think the top 3 have got chances of getting beat here. If you watch the podcast with Sean Calvert and myself, Sean has actually gone for Alexander Zverev. He's 8-1. He's now down to 6-1. Bet Rivers, there's been money for him. But I've got a feeling we might see a big run from a couple of Americans. I think Francis Tiafoe and Ben Shelton. I think it's going to be quick here, very fast conditions. Ben Shelton's the biggest server in the world. He's 80-1 with Bet Rivers. For anyone looking for an American, I think Ben Shelton might give you a good run for your money. He's a big Showtime player, and 80-1 he could go deep. But if I was a bookie in the men's draw, I'm very, very happy to take your money on the top 3, because if you're going to get them beat, this is the tournament at the end of a very long season that you will get these favourites beat.
I can tell you now, Nigel, 28% of the money with Bet Rivers is on Novak Djokovic, but 61% of the tickets are on Alcaraz. But the biggest liability for Bet Rivers is Zverev, because there's been some significant money placed on him at 16-1 to win this US Open. And at least 3 4-figure bets have been on Novak Djokovic. He's a very popular wager, as you might expect. So very interesting for the men's.
I think prime Djokovic at the start of the year, sort of when they come into fitness, is all about Wimbledon time. Then yeah, but I do think now plus 225, given that he's won that Olympic gold medal, that was his target. There's nothing else for him to do. So I'll be worried about that. Zverev is in the bottom half of the draw. The 16-1 must have been placed quite a long time ago, but he's down to 6. He was 8-1 only a week ago. But I think if you're looking for an each way alternative, at someone who can go deep. Remember, he's got to a final here before. He should have won it. He should have beat Dominic Thiem a couple of years ago. I think he's got to 2 finals at the US Open. Zverev. He's always been the nearly man. I think this is his time, because if he doesn't win one now, when I think Alcaraz and Sinner are going to get better and better in the next 2 or 3 years, and I think this is his time. So he's got to get it right. Got to get it over the line now.
Let's have a look at the ladies then. And we've got Aryna Sabalenka, the favourite here at plus 220, Iga Swiatek plus 350, and it's 7-1 bar. But this is another. I mean, the ladies for me is always a difficult one. I mean, I'm just sort of a casual tennis bettor, and I really struggle with this draw. Have you got anyone that you got your eye on here, Nigel, that could be a bit of value?
I don't see anyone beating the favourite. I think Sabalenka wins it, and I think she'll win it quite well. Again, I think there's huge doubts around the main contenders. Iga Swiatek didn't win at the Olympic Games, which was a huge shock for her. She got beat by Zhang, the Chinese girl, in the semi-final. She wanted to win the Olympics. She was just dominant on Roland Garros, and she couldn't get over the line. Since then, she had a shot loss at Cincinnati. She won't like the surface. It's going to be very quick for her. But they reckon it could be the quickest US Open for many years, which isn't going to suit Swiatek. Coco Gauff went to the Olympics as the flag bearer for the Americans. The pressure got to her. She completely folded in her match against Donna Vekic. A bad line call went against her, and she went into a tantrum. Ever since then, she hasn't looked the same player at all. She's the defending champion here. I think the pressure on her, the fact that she's the American limelight of her, the expectation on such a young girl is I think it'd be too much. It's very hard to win one, but it's even harder to defend the title as well. Rybakina has only played 1 match since Wimbledon. She got beat in the semi-finals, and women only played 1 match in Cincinnati, and she got beat as well. So I think that you might, it's by sort of elimination, the process of elimination, you leave yourself with Sabalenka. She just won the Cincinnati tournament. You've got to be in form coming into this tournament. She's in the best form of the year. She won the Australian Open. She's probably playing better now than she was then. She didn't drop a set in Cincinnati. She is the girl to beat. The conditions will suit. She's in the easier part of the draw. And I think that's a decent bet. Anisimova, I really like Anisimova, but she starts off in a very, very tough match. I'm sure she plays Zheng, the girl who won the Olympics. Now, obviously, if she gets through that, she's going to be 25-1, but that's a very, very tough opener for her. There's some really difficult first-round matches. Jasmine Paolini, another Italian player, Daniele will know. She's got to 2 major finals this year, but she starts off against Bianca Andreescu, who's won this tournament before. And there's problems with injuries, and Paolini's played a lot of tennis and also won the Olympic doubles with Irani as well. So I think she's played a lot of tennis, and that will be a problem for me. So just by elimination, it leaves you with one name and one name only. And I think that Sabalenka, unlike the men's draw, will justify favouritism and win this tournament.
Nigel, if you had to have one bet on the first round of the US Open, either men's or women's, where would you be going?
I've had one bet. I've only had one bet today, and I think it's just started. Actually, I have gone over 36.5 games in the match between Ugo Humbert and Thiago Monteiro. It's just about to start. They haven't started yet. The line with Bet Rivers is 37.5. I've actually played over 36.5, but I wouldn't rule anybody out going over 37.5 games at -113.
The biggest liability for Bet Rivers on the ladies singles is Naomi Osaka. There's been several 4-figure bets placed on her actually in the first round here against Jelena Ostapenko.
Well, that's a very, very tough ask. Osaka against Ostapenko. I mean, that's, again, if you get through that match, your odds to win the tournament will be halved. I'm not so sure whether she's got it in her to go all the way in the US Open. She's obviously a former champion. She's obviously a multiple Grand Slam winner. She's a proven player, but to get Ostapenko in round 1 is anything. So I wouldn't like it. I just think that the easiest draw and the route to the final is definitely for Sabalenka. Play it very simple. The favourite wins the women's draw.
Well, we're going to say goodbye to you now, Nigel. Have you got any final thoughts on the US Open before you leave me and Daniele to the soccer?
No, not really. I think I summed it up there. I think the men's you're going to get a shock finalist. I don't think you're going to get a shock winner. I think the winner will probably be one of the top guys, but you're going to get someone come through as a shock finalist. Tommy Paul, I think, will have a good tournament. Ben Shelton, I think, will have a good tournament. I think you're going to get an 80-1, 66-1, 100-1 finalist. And I think that you're going to get shocks along the way in the match betting for sure.
Well, you're going to be back on the live show on Wednesday, Nigel, to give us an update on the US Open. So we look forward to that. But give us 20 seconds. We'll sort out the graphics. And me and Daniele will be here to talk about Serie and LaLiga. Thanks again, Nigel.
Yep. Cheers, Daniele. Thanks, mate.
US Take Open care. Place.
Oh, see you later. Bye-bye.
And welcome back, everyone. We are me and Daniele now to talk about soccer for the rest of the show. US Open, a lot of excitement there. Do check out all the videos that we've had with, as I say, Nigel, Sean, and Rory Giovanni as well. But we've got 3 crucial matches, I would say, this evening in Europe and the soccer. We've got 2 Serie A games. Cagliari Como, that kicks off quite soon, actually. That is a 12:30 Eastern time kickoff. And then Juventus are in action against Hellas Verona. That's a 2:45 p.m. Eastern kickoff. And then in La Liga, 3:30 Eastern, Celta Vigo against Villarreal. Let's start with Cagliari against Como. And this is an interesting one because I was looking at the stats for this game, and I quite like under 2.5 goals. There's been a market move for under 2.5 goals for this game. But you're looking at maybe something a little bit more open here because you're liking both teams to score. Yes, Daniele.
Yeah, that's a -124. Cagliari, the Sardinians, have got a good record at home. They haven't scored in the last game at home against Roma, 0-0, but a good performance nonetheless. They did have chances. They did have shots on target despite being under the cosh against a better side. And you would expect them against a newly promoted side, Como, albeit full of stars, full of great players, or once great players, to be more proactive and to get some goals. In 2024, Cagliari has scored at home in 11 out of 12 games in all competition. but they only failed to score last season in only 3 home games. So really, they build their salvation thanks to the home form. Lot of Cagliari games last season finish both teams to score. They don't have one of the strongest defense, and you would expect the newly promoted side managed by Cesc Fabregas to do score. They suffered Como in the first game. They suffered the Juventus rhythm. They also made a couple of silly mistakes at the back. But, they got big players, the likes of Belotti, for example. By the way, he scored 8 times against Cagliari. Then you have the likes of Alberto Moreno, Sergi Roberto has just arrived, Strefezza, and so on and so forth. So, good players there. By the way, this is the first meeting in Serie A in the last 42 years, so don't look for any head-to-head stats because you won't really find them. The start of the campaign is tough for Como because, 3 away games, Juventus, Cagliari, and the next one is at Udine against Udinese issues with the stadium. So basically 2 relegation 6-pointers back to back. I'm expecting Como to be safe this season, but they will have to grind out results in the next 2 away games. I think it could be a draw with both teams to score. It could be a 1-1, Steve. So I do like your under 2.5 goals here, but I do like the both.
Yeah, I was looking last week at the matches involving both teams. Como were backed quite heavily last week against Juventus. They were a really popular underdog play, but I didn't work out for them. I suppose you've got to credit Juventus. This is a different sort of opposition, but Como didn't seem to offer anything for me in that game, and they should probably be able to offer a bit more in this fixture. Cagliari against Roma looked like an entertaining 0-0 draw. In fairness, probably should have been some goals in that fixture. There's loads of different bets on this game with Bet Rivers. Remember, you can watch this match on live streaming on betrivers.com and also the Bet Rivers app. So do enjoy the contest. This is a 12:30 Eastern time kickoff. I can tell you 78% of the tickets are on the over in this game. There's an interesting bet. Nearly 20% of all game money is on Matteo Prati under 1.5 shots. Not a player I'm very familiar with, but for this particular market, there's quite a few bettors hoping that he doesn't shoot very much in this game.
He had a shot against Roma. He had 1 shot against Roma. So, that you would expect maybe to have another shot. But, for him to have 2 shots, I think he's ambitious, really. So, I do like it. I think Prati scored 3 times last season for Cagliari. And every time he scored, he was at home. So, probably that's why the line is so high.
Okay, Hellas Verona against Juventus then. That is the later kickoff in Italy, Serie A. Today, this is a 2:45 Eastern kickoff. And last week, Juventus were betted against quite heavily. No such move so far today, but later on, who knows? I'm going to be really interested to see which way the market goes on Juventus today. I'd imagine there'll be quite a bit of public money for them. They're minus 124 at the time of going live here with Bet Rivers. Hellas Verona, you can get plus 360 on them. They've been nibbled in slightly. Verona with a tremendous result last week. I saw that the scoreline there against Napoli. I was shocked. I don't know if it shocked you as much as me, Daniele, but is this a banana skin game for Juventus? Because I'd imagine there'll be quite a popular public play tonight.
Juventus have won 3-0 in their debut. 4 of the last 5 seasons, they opened the season with a 3-0 win. And last season, you see how it ended with the 3rd place and with Allegri being sacked. So I think this is a real test because Verona is a physical side that seems to have done a lot of preparation to start fast out of the block, same as last season, and they stand Napoli. It is a team that's going to give Juventus a couple of issues, I think, on the physical side in terms of rhythm. Of course, Juventus supposed to be a highest quality side, but Verona were extremely disciplined against Napoli. Zanetti showed a good tactical acumen to nullify Napoli's attacks. 3-4-2-1 formation became a 5-4-1 out of possession. So basically, they managed to really stifle them, and they score the 2 goals with the 2 debutants in Serie A, Livramento and Mosquera, but also a very good defensive display. But when it comes to Juventus were praised for the change of style, the change of tactic, high pressing, 4-1-4-1, very fluid movements there. So really a move from Allegri's conservative style. But let's look at the number. Juventus only kept 1 clean sheet in the last 8 away matches. Verona has scored in 16 of the last 17 home games. And last season, they collected 24 points at home from January onwards. Are they going to do another miracle here? Look, it could be unlikely. And this is a very difficult to pick because even the both team to score, you have to be cautious here. I like the Juventus win and under 4.5 goals, minus 104, so almost close to even money. But this is more of a lean for me. It is a difficult, really, really difficult one to bet on.
You can check out the European preview show. I've linked it on the comments. James Eastham has the same game parlay that he recommended in tonight's match. I think it contains under corners amongst other things. Corners market's not usually ones I get involved in with the unders, I must say, but do check that out. I've probably lean here. I mean, Juventus had a good start. New manager. Juventus win, and if they're going to win the game, it probably will be a low-scoring win.
Also because they got few absentees. They got few absentees. They are without Timothy Weah. They might be without Milik as well. There is a lot of comings and goings at Juventus. Is a team that is not yet complete. From next week, we'll see Nico Gonzalez. We will see Conceição. We'll probably see Koop Meiners. They've done a lot of changes. Patience will be needed with Juve. I don't think they're going to be out to a blistering start. Potentially, they win. Oh, by the way, who wins this one goes top of the league, 7 points with 6 points. And if they draw, there are going to be a lot of teams with 4 points there. So yeah, it is an interesting one to watch, of course.
So Cagliari against Como, both teams score yes. Is your favourite pick in Serie A? You've got a lean there for Juventus winning under 4.5. My lean is in the Cagliari match, under 2.5 goals, now at minus 143. We're going to move on to the final game. And this is where my best bet of the day comes in. And you actually agree with me on this one, Daniele. This is Villarreal against Celta Vigo. This is the LaLiga game. Again, you can watch this live on the BetRivers, on betrivers.com or the BetRivers app. Same with the Juventus match as well. 8:30 Eastern. 8:30 local time. And this is a 3:30 Eastern time kickoff in the USA. Cracking game. We've got a midweek round here of La Liga, so we're going to be discussing it the next 3 live shows. Villarreal for me, and I've mentioned it before on live and European preview shows as well. They're an automatic over team for me. There's actually been some slight money for the under though since these graphics were created. You can get over 2.5 goals now at minus 143. My preferred bet for the game, and it was exactly the same on Friday night when Villarreal played. Both teams score yes, and over 2.5 goals. That is at minus 104 now in BetRivers. You should be able to access this. It will become on the house specials page on BetRivers. This for me is the best bet of the day in soccer. Villarreal, the manager Marcelino is very, very attack-minded. He will play an open style of football. The game on Friday night was crazy against Sevilla. It should have gone way over. Yeah. The new goalkeeper for Villarreal, who coming from Leganes, Conde, I think his name is. I'd never actually come across him much before, but he had a genuine man-of-the-match performance. Otherwise, Sevilla would have scored 3, maybe 4 goals against them. I don't trust the Villarreal defense, but I do like their offense. Celta Vigo have had 2 very good wins so far, both at home, though. Let's see how they get on away from home. And I know you would agree with me on this particular selection, Daniele. Villarreal, a good team to goal.
Totally, Steve. Both teams to score and over 2.5 goals, minus 104. Villarreal lucky to get away with the 3 points from the Sanchez-Pizjuan, but nonetheless, 4 points in the table. Celta Vigo, 6 points. And I know it is early days, but maybe there is a new trend with the over 2.5 goals and both teams to score yes in La Liga. Well, let me explain you. I've crunched the number. The first 2 match days in La Liga have shown a dramatic increase in both over 2.5 goals and both teams to score yes compared to last season. In 2023-2024, La Liga had the lowest percentage of over 2.5 goals, 46% of games, and both teams to score yes, 49% of goals, which made them the lowest scoring league in the top 5 in Europe. Moreover, only 9 out of 20 La Liga clubs had over 50% of their games ending with both teams to score yes. And again, that's the lowest result in the top 5 leagues in Europe. And now, after only 2 match days in La Liga, so after 20 games, we got 13 out of 20 both teams to score yes. That's 65%. So it goes from 49% of last season to 65% this season. And then you got over 2.5 goals, 55%. Again, an increase of 9 points percentage. But when you look at these two clubs, and you mentioned, Steve, these are the clubs to go for both teams to score and over. Based on last season, 79% of Villarreal games ended both teams to score yes. 15 of them at home out of 19. 58% of Celta games ended both teams to score yes, and they were in the top 4 for both teams to score yes away from home. Look at the over 2.5 goals, exactly the same. Villarreal, 14 out of 19 games played at La Ceramica, over 2.5 goals. Celta, the top team away for over 2.5 goals, 13 out of 19. Will they revert to a low-scoring game? I don't know. I can't see it. If you want to be conservative, pick a double chance. Maybe Celta X2 and over 1.5 goals or over 2.5 goals. And then you are saving yourself from the both team to score option. But I think it's the one to go. I agree with you. Both team to score and over 2.5 goals, minus 104.
That's my best bet of the day. 91% of the tickets are on the over, and 90% of the tickets on the money line are on Villarreal. I would be a bit careful. Celta have started the season quite well. It's not a guaranteed Villarreal win. It's really tough to predict the actual result, but I think there's going to be at least 3 goals in the game. Before we finish, some notable weekend winners and losers at Bet Rivers. Check this one out, Daniele. $116,000 was placed on Chelsea money line to beat Wolves on Sunday.
Wow.
And of course, that was a win. I mean, I got to say, I actually quite liked Wolves in that game. And it was Dan Roebuck's best bet of the round, I think, on the Premier League show. So maybe that's why someone went against him. But that's a huge winner. So congratulations to that particular bettor. There was nearly a $30,000 loser on the money line, minus 303, Edmund Shabazian against Gerald Meerschaert. So that was not a good one for the bettors there. Nearly $25,000 was placed on the Dodgers Rays over 9.5 runs at minus 179 live, and that was a winner. And we had nearly $20,000 on New Mexico minus 9.5 live. That was a loss. So a mixed sort of weekend for the bettors, but a huge winner there on Chelsea. So congratulations. Some big bets today. Most of the big bets today, unsurprisingly, are on the tennis. Ben Shelton against Dominic Thiem under 3.5 sets at minus 132. Nearly $3,000 placed on that. Donna Vekic on the money line against Kimberly Birrell, minus 345. Again, significant sums placed. And Brandon Nakashima on the money line, plus 150 against Helga Rune. $2,000. That would be a nice winner for someone if that manages to cash. But as always, we appreciate your time. There was just a comment going through the screen there. Henry VIII, thank you very much for you predicted Seattle would finish strong. They won 2 of the last 3 for a profit. Bet on Seattle for the rest of the year. There you go. Bit of advice there from Henry VIII. But yeah, appreciate everyone's time, either live or on demand. Back tomorrow with Will White, who's going to be talking about US Open tennis along with a big card in La Liga and Champions League. But Daniele, best of luck with all your picks today. And we'll see you again next time. Thanks, everyone. Cheers. Goodbye, everyone. Stay safe. Remember to gamble responsibly.